here it goes. We've tried to do this before, and it's not exactly like the most easy task. It should be easy, but it's not. Because first of all, it should be so that I have to apologize to many of you because of my vanity, because of my lusts and cravings and demands. We've known for a long time what we are and who we are. And we've been in a dialogue, or let's just say a conversation with the other ones, and the one you know who, like, when is the real game? When does the real hunt begin? And before this happened, you will lose everyone and everything. It's the same old story. And then you will hear some stories about why it's like that. And you will think, oh, that's a nice fairy tale. But since was a child, we knew that we are somehow different because, well, first of all, they told me, and it was pretty obvious. We are not more special than you. They are not more special than you. We go under many names. We are a group of let's just say, well, we look like humans. We are very much like humans. We are humans. But there is just one difference. And that is that we are set on a specific task. And within someone's name, I just carried a sharp arrow here. And that is a name. Within your name and within the synchronicities, when you start to understand what the synchronicities is all about, they will increase. Until one day when you are in between this hard place and a rock and you feel the tension, and that's when you have to break free of those chains, and it's like, now can we tell them? And that's when the answer is no. You will meet a lot of people out there who are making millions on spiritual knowledge that you yourself have access to. There's nothing wrong in following your highest passion, which is recommended and which will lead you to that very point, that pivotal point, that rendezvous of the whirlpool, which could perhaps throw you in a different direction. You realize, oh, maybe that wasn't, or you could evolve within that specific subject. When you are certain that about what you suspected from the beginning, when you are certain, the reason you are certain is that you will be delivered. You will go from seeing 11, 11, 3, 3, 3. Oh, I saw these synchronized numbers. That's just the beginning. And that means that you are aligned with the force. That means the force is with you. And that's how the universe is communicating directly to you. And that is how a tracker is hunting its animal, by following the tracks. At some point, it will be led to the animal. And one day he will see that beautiful animal in the forest. Maybe a deer with beautiful antlers. And he will see this deer shining. And from that deer, no offense to those of you who hunt, this is just an allegory. There will be a specific message. Some of you might get that message by watching a movie. Some of you will start to see copycats everywhere. Every time you come to one realization, you see everywhere that someone else came up with the exact same realization, and that's when we say you swap timelines. Because now you are synchronized with someone else who are in the same perception. So things that was out of the question from one of the earlier timelines we came from is now just the norm. Christian people talk about Jesus, and Jesus is, he died for our sins. So basically many of them are just putting the responsibility, oh thank you, he did that stuff for all of us so we can be saved. It's not exactly how it works. Krish, which is also portrayed in the Vedas as Krishna, meaning the dark one, something that wants to protect. Dark blue, black. It's also referred to the anointed one, the exalted one. Just like Lakshmi is where we get the word Lakshmi, we get the word luxury from. So basically all of the terminologies can be traced back to the Vedic science, including the 144,000 chosen ones. Now, let's just pretend that it's the light of Christ we are talking about here. Christ consciousness, which is all about compassion. First of all, you might feel like you have a mental breakdown and everything is falling apart and you don't know what's your direction now. And that's, when you see that elk in the woods, that giant deer, and it will have a specific glow to it, and it will look at you, and there will be some specific synchronicities to that specific situation that makes you hesitate from fulfilling that game. And you will let him walk. Because now you know what the game is about and what your role is about in that game. If you look for synchronicities, they will probably escape you. If you run after synchronicity or people, like Jehovah's Witnesses, listen to me, they will run. You know, if you are full on in people's face, they will, hey. So you will go from tracking, hunting for a game, food, to magnetizing. That's why it's called vanity. Oh, yes, we are still human. We still love having a lot of hair. Anyway, you will go from literally hunting. You will go from perhaps being in need of validation into becoming everything that you desired. And that's why I threw a small stick out for you to see who wants to play that game. Because when the game starts, it's pretty fun. It's pretty fun. And because you need to train that muscle. You know, if you want big muscles, you need to do it the right way. And in this case, to stay in that state of mind where you and that deer have this moment together, like lovers, like brother and sister, like father and child, mother and child. You are in unity consciousness. And when the motherhood, the divine feminine, starts to raise in that moment, she will never kill her child. She would rather starve. Because she's now in the final state of glowing, and she's now ready to the next level. Some people have known this game for a long time, but there's been small virus inserts where, are you sure about that? That little voice, are you sure about that? That's insane. So we have been, to many of you, we have been the devil. We've been your tyrant. We've been your partner as a wife. We've been the mother of your child. We are someone's mother. Now free her from this conversation. We are someone's child, and we are someone to most people we've met. And what we've been doing here is infiltrating the darkness as the Dark One, as the scapegoat. Because in order to get in to be a part of the Pirates Club, you need to look like a pirate, but you also need to think you're a pirate, and you also need to behave like a pirate, but deep, deep in there, you know what it really is about. You know the game. You're not even flinching. Okay? And that is for the highest one to spread its truth, veritas, as far stretched as possible. And the same suffering that Krishna, Christ, and all these prophets and angels and those you don't hear about, you have to go through them too. Now the question is, what are you going to do about it? We have tested some of you. We already revealed to you that we have studied acting for 2 years, formalized. Truth to be told is that we studied that our entire life. And we have tried different approaches to test most your heart, your dedication to the pure light, the purity of your heart that can only be measured by a feather. They need to be, actually the heart should be a little bit lighter, that meaning free of guilt. And you can do that like this now. We have we have been calling you out for help. We've been the villain by your side. And we also taken upon us one of the most horrific tasks, which is to destroy our own body in order to, like a lab rat basically, to see, okay, how much and how far can we go before we destroy it and then resurrect it again? To go through those different processes, which is also known as suffering. And we also see that there are very little information about that specific field that we chose to create a greater understanding for those who actually are in that state of suffering, but they are met with no heart. They are being met with a judgmental attitude. People who take upon them how to judge you. Okay. And they have power. So a lot of people, this is also a test when you finally get the message. And when the real message appeared to you that now you don't have to, portray yourself as the victim anymore. Now it's time to go out and tell you the truth. Thank you for helping us to this specific moment where we can tell you that despite all the things you did to us, was your gift to me, without all those things that people might consider as horrific. And I've also taken part in that the other way around. It's all staged to create the greatest and the strongest of souls, so we can evolve into a new world. It's easy to portray yourself as, oh, we do see many places people who have this extreme need to portray themselves as something special, and this can develop into what we call as basically spiritual narcissism or self-importance. Okay, none of you are more important than the other. It's just that you have different tasks. The message that was delivered to us, first of all, it was through a design we made. We watched basically a movie, and that's my design. And that's, oh, the copycat thing again, the 100 monkey effect or whatever, because it happens so much. And the intensity of the synchronicity intensifies, and that's when you realize that it's not their fault. It's just that you are on the same frequency, so you pick up on the same ideas and the same coolness. And that's when he would push a button and create this shield. And I was like, hey, that's what? Because we are playing with the science fiction story. And so in the end of that movie, there was a specific message. Yeah, you could think we are schizophrenic if you want to. That's fine, that's all right. A specific message that was delivered to us. And there is no one in this world who can know that, because we never told anyone that. And that is when we got knocked out. And spending some moments close to the wall. And what to do now? Because it started, and so all these different portraits of who you consider to be Raven or Lillinetta or that horrible woman who did this and said this, and you know, we basically just followed a map all the time that was given to us. It's a sacred map, okay? And we have fallen in love with so many of you. So many of you think that I can't stand you. But in reality, you think you are my mortal enemy. That is you projecting your own demons that live inside of you onto me, and probably also onto other people. Okay, so for those of you who try to harm me big time, I actually still love you, and I'm truly grateful for your part in that specific role that you played, because we said yes. And in the end of the day, there wasn't really a choice. So that is possibly what we call a soul contract. So in that sense, we have people who channel, like Darilanka, and we have people who claim they talk directly to someone standing in the room and they see the physical presence. I cannot talk on their behalf on what their mission is and what they're doing, but we can say that some of the formulas that are given to us out there, that they work. And as long as they are benevolent, as long as there is no harm, as long as there is no fear spread into the picture, and as long as there is "thou shalt not have other gods than me because I'm a jealous God," and if you do that you will burn somewhere forever, that is not it. So what do we call this place, really? And what to do from here when you discover, or when you know, not only, you already know, we've been there before. But this is the first time, and no drugs involved, so forget the mushroom trip and all that stuff. This is the first time we felt really alone. Because as a very wise man said one time, is that everything you see around you, which clearly come from the East, is your own imagination and world and collective agreements, things you accumulate, processed, and it's basically being almost purged or blown out of you. Some claim it's the third eye, you know, but creation starts here, you know. And the root is all about survival. So when I've been out there, one of my tasks is to test your heart, your dedication, and if there are lies in between your lips, our job is to pick up on them. We are not superhumans. We just have different tasks. Let's say you have a special task. You can choose to check out if there are any synchronicities around you, or you can just drop it. So for those of you who gave me a rough time as a child and adult, thank you. You did well, and you did exactly what you were supposed to do. It's all forgiven. It's not possible to carry grudges because you brought me exactly to that state that was needed. In return, if you don't understand what I did in return, you will understand eventually. I could ask you, please forgive me, but in reality there is nothing to forgive, either from me, because all this is arranged. Now it's time to wake up. So what do we do from here? Well, I'm not going to walk around because I'm still programmed into being the raven. I will still be triggered by rock music, cartoons, tarot cards, and you know, oh, check out that ass, he's hot, you know. But when this process starts, you will start to value your body more. You could, it's okay, it's time to detox now, because you want your manifestations to be pure. And the only thing we can ask of you is to do your very best in that sense. And if you don't understand the idea of there is nothing to forgive, then please understand this, that okay, for your own sake, forgive and let go of what used to be, because what used to be no longer is. The only time that exists is now. When you see this, it's already past. I only exist as a picture, and I'm literally you, talking to you, telling me, the other me. It's time that as many of you are waking up. And you need to stop one thing. You need to stop that now. Beg you, please. I got a message from my mother, and she said, you know, the finances and the economy is going to be back like in the 30s, like in Norway. Don't talk about like that. Don't think like that, because that's exactly what you are going to create for yourself, and there's going to be a split. Because we are on different timelines. So we have tried a few times the self-delete program, and when it can knock out an elephant, but you wake up the next day like nothing happened, you know that, oh, we just quantum jumped. Truth to be told, we are shifting realities all the time, because in reality, the real reality is that nothing really moves. We are always in this state of peace and light. You'll see the Buddhists, the Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas, and they would come to Adi Yogi, the first Shiva, and say, what's happening to you? Why are you crying? Because, you know, and in the past, you know, recently, when there have been certain resistances in regards to this journey, the tears that come are now finally, I can show tears of joy, because now you made me just a little bit stronger. So every time you fall off the horse, every time you get a rejection, it's a win, actually. It's a win. You can't lose this game. You can only label people or yourself as a loser. So the choice is now up to you. Do you want to be the one people define you as and live by those rules? Because one part of me ended up here because part of me felt that I owed someone something because of all the help that I was given while I was in the East. 90% detoxed, fresh, being pulled into Norway. And again, we are not blaming anyone, because this was all meant to be, but you also need to learn from it, okay? Because there are people out there who are in a dark frequency, or who are not in this specific light. Or the light is simply just an allegory for the awareness. You know, Buddhism is all about waking up from human awareness into the unity consciousness, the one. And so we realized that we took a few extra rounds here in Europe because people pleasing. Okay. And now they wanted to, because they've been given so much, and so now we owe them so much. No, we don't. Not if it compromises your task that is divine, because you are divine. All of you are divine. And everything you do is also divine. But if you want to elevate yourself and going from being the one who takes and needs, who are the victim, who are showing you, everyone are so evil to me, and you attract drama into being the one that dodge the drama. You need to go back into the alignment, and you need to start practice now. And you can't please people who themselves are not in that awareness. So whatever happens now, all I can say from what we see here in this room, the banks are open again, and the journey will continue as planned from how it was from the very beginning. And we was called to a place, and we looked back and we didn't really see why were we called to this place. It's a place of ancient temples, things that we've been researching on for a long time, so we can forward you the knowledge about who the ancient were, and they live within us as you. If your parents, your sisters, very often when you start to evolve, you realize that where you grew up and how people, they vibrate a specific sound that actually animates you. And when it's too strong, it's difficult to resist it. It's like having a very large speaker in front of you. And they play death metal and play black metal, and no matter how much you try to shield yourself from it, the only way you can do is to move some steps ahead or away, and they don't understand why doesn't he or she respond to what we all know, right? When you also awaken the divine, Magdalena, or the feminine Christ, you will also see that harming animals will also be a very touchy subject, because you awaken the mother in you. And she's been with us all the time. So when we've seen abuse of this, Kali comes, and all of a sudden you see the peaceful little raven bird sitting there. All of a sudden it's war, because you're attacking our children. And that is an awareness which flows through all mothers, depending on the evolution of your soul. So in some timelines, you already have achieved that goal. In other timelines, you're still a puppy, and maybe you choose to be a puppy in your next timeline because that was so comfortable or cute, or you want to be someone's guardian angel or comfort. So nothing is chronological. All the lives and everything you experience is a dance that you experience right here and right now. So what can you expect from me in the future? For those of you who know me, first of all, expect nothing at all. But I already tested your heart, and you might experience that. Let's say we decide that, hey, let's create a project, you know. We entered Capricorn recently, and Capricorn is a powerful sign. And they are very similar to the Scorpions, and they are a phoenix. And so it is interesting how the shed of the skin of the snake, which is one of the levels of the Scorpio, happened the moment we put our foot into the energies of Capricorn, where we found the release through Saturn himself with Pluto, which is say, boom, you no longer are in need of those portrayals. You can free them of all of you. Okay, so again, thank you so much for all of you who've been accepting, understanding. I want to thank some of you especially who's been there for me when I've actually been sick, physically sick, taking care of me. Because yeah, people like me get sick too, you know. And things like that is being noted. And it's being valued. And it's being something we remember. Also the things, small things you do that you think we don't see, which is of interest to the self, which is taking something rather than to give, because you know, depending a little bit on the situation, that is also noticed. Just like the landlord here, he probably didn't notice that I noticed he didn't give me 30 euro back on one of the first payments. And I thought, I'm not going to say anything now, I'm just going to see what happens next. He said nothing. And so, yes, to some of you, I'm still the dumb blonde. To some of you, I'm the Lord. To some of you, I'm a super intelligent, evil overlord who's been spoofing your entire house, and I spent my life into hunting you down, and seriously, you need to get help. For those of you who will meet me in the future, think of it as that we are starting fresh again. Maybe some of my old programmings will respawn, and those will be subconsciously, and that's the moment we will fall out of the new upgrade. Let's call it like that, the upgrade we've been waiting for. It's accessible for all of you, and it's been it's now being easier accessible now, because we've been entering an enormous field of light, and the gods, the planetary gods and the spirit guides and all the light beings and galactic entities, whatever you call it, has been working very, very hard now. And some of us literally are still in amnesia, because some of you carry specific keys blue codes and prints that if you know about them, they can easily, you know, retract them or, you know, withdraw them. And so just like, or extract them, just like some information I had that was belonging basically to a science fiction story that I was building up. It was not just for fun, it was also sending out specific signals to specific others saying, I know, and now you know that I know. And I got the response. Okay, now that you know, it's on. So, what is your next order? Well, now that you know, first and all, is that all this is you. And what are you going to do about it? You know. And that goes for all of us. So for a long time we thought like, okay, what is that? Does that mean I have to start a new channel and stop cards? Because there's a certain thing with the cards that does need to be changed. Keeping my life long run to spying on your exes, obviously that's not going to be the end of this story, you know. But each and every card is based on alchemy. So slowly we go from here, and slowly some of you have noticed that a small change in us have taken place. For some of you it doesn't matter. Okay, but for those of you who resonate with me and understand exactly where this comes from, we picked up on a few of you. We've seen some of your dedication that you truly want. You served us well in that manner, as in like taking care of us when we are sick. When you're not watching, we see that your dedication to the highest one in your own way of knowing. When we do the mala, also known as the rose cross, whatever, it's a mala, and we use it a lot, and it's a fine instrument to tune your mind into full focus. And all the different gods are basically just archetypes and frequencies for you that are useful for you in that moment. And crystal, Reiki, or someone who sits like this, now you have Reiki, your life will be fine. If that's called a permission slips, according to Mr. Anka, which is very funny. And if that works for you, that's fine for me. We think it's funny because in the end of the day, most of you have absolutely everything you need to access the all famous Akashic archive. And because the body structure and the brain and whatever you channel now, because you are now ready as a channel, but you need to be aligned, you need to be pure, you can't have any labelizing or eager to judge something as something, or put yourself in a specific special position where you are above someone else. If next moment you just created a cult. Oh, I want what you have. That's not the point with this. So some of you are soldiers, some of you are healers, Some of you are a little bit of both. You know, some of us are here to take extra care of animals and to rebel a little, fight a little, dress up in black. That's how we are basically tuned and programmed into getting a fix out of black. Goth music, the romantic darkness and scary forests. Because some of us, the ravens, need to deliver the message down to the underworld, which very often is here. Because if I don't do it, if the ravens don't do it, who is? Okay, so sometimes the ravens can be a messenger of light. We are just messengers. Okay, so that is all I have for now. I really hope you heed my words, and we will still tease you a little bit about the blue dress, tease you a little bit about what's in the egg, and there hopefully will be more coming from what just came from whatever it's speaking from. So you don't need to act like someone else when you meet me, or you know, if you still want to be one of those who love to patronize me, keep it going. It's quite all right. You're just strengthening the shield that we already have. We are fully protected to, you know, you can choose what kind of protection do you want, right? So if you work from the purity of your heart, you will have a very powerful protection around you. Because now the mission is to elevate, and those who wants to, because you know, this so-called Generation X and the baby boomers and the hippies and all those people, they've done the bush work, you know, they've done the lawnmower stuff, so that the new hybrid children, or whatever they call it, there are so many fancy new age names. Maybe you can call this also new age. You could call it whatever you want, but it is what it is. So I am that I am. We are the foot soldiers. We've done our part, whacking those bushes. So the more sensitive beings, which some are claimed to be crystal children, rainbow children, this children, hybrid children, and that children, can come and do their work, which is to elevate the new world. There is a new world, but there is two of them, and you can choose. Do you want to go down the drain by listening to politics? And oh, Norway is going straight to hell, we're going back to the 30s. Send out a message to everyone you know who are acceptable for this, but please, it's going to be okay. Especially if you believe in Jesus, you sure as hell should know that it's okay. You know, so they talk about Earth split. I'm not sure I actually felt the split, except in the personalities. But please send a message to all of those, you know, say it's okay, and stay away from propaganda, which is here to disturb you, which is here to tilt you out of your focus. And again, I'm sorry I have to put you through the roles as crying for help, I want to die, I am in trouble. All those things are staged, and all of you who were there for us as we had small moments of doubt. We remember you. And we hope that those who wasn't there, hopefully they were there for someone else and not just giving a fluff and watching football with our popcorn. Now remember that next time you see a beggar, it could be a watcher. Love you so much. Catch you on the flip side.